Kaiser Larsen, VP Product Marketing, Data and Analytics at SAP. I'm very excited to chat with you here today. I'm Kate Strachnyi, founder of DATAcated. And I want to talk to you, let's talk about data, right?
Let's do it.
Can't walk 2 blocks without hearing the word data,
Amen.
AI.
Amen, amen, every day.
Yes, and we collect more and more data every day, like you said. But what's the point, right, if we're not actually using it? So let's talk about data-driven or data-first organizations. What comes to mind when you hear that term?
I love that. Like you said, data is getting more and more in quality, in volume, in every single day. There's no shortage of data. But I think what's really interesting is with all the focus on data, and we talk about a data-driven culture, a little bit of a cliche these days, you know, like maybe every client you talk with, right?
Yes.
We need a data-driven culture. You know, we've been saying it, in my opinion, I've been saying it for 15, 20 years, over and over and over. But what's really interesting, I was just reading a stat by a Harvard Business Review on CEOs on do you believe that you're data-driven? Only 31%.
I was going to guess
yes.
31%.
That exact number, right? They said 31%, yes, we're data-driven. So the large majority of CEOs, people running the company, people seeing, are we really being transformed by the data that's coming in, the insights that are being shared? Are we following those? That's what's driving our digital transformation? No. So for me, a data-driven culture right now, I think there a few things come to my mind. Number one is it's so easy as humans and as businesses to be distracted by the shiny new thing.
Where? Hold on.
Right? we love whatever the shiny new thing is,
yeah.
We want to go and talk about it. For businesses, a lot of times it's technology. And we get so focused on the technology, the tool. What can we do with it? How fast is it?
Buy more software. That's the answer to every question.
Buy more and more IT. Get more IT debt going on. Just keep buying more software, like you said. And for me, it's what a data-driven culture is putting stock and putting worth and what's going to make a change. Technology is super helpful.
Yep.
We have to have it. But the technology has to be in proximity to the data. And the data has to be the actual priority for us. The second thing to your question that I think about a lot is people care about what they understand.
That's
people
true.
care about when you put it in their context, in their environment, they will say, thank you. I get it. I want to use this. But so much we just say, here's the data product.
No thanks. I don't know what to do with it.
Here's the dashboard.
Right.
Well, what does _ product ID _ consumer 23 mean? Right? And so for me, I think about context all the time. All the time. Data-driven cultures are context aware. Mm-hmm. Everything that they do is contextually focused, whether I'm delivering it to a business user or an IT person. So for me, data-driven organizations, they understand the data is the priority and that the context is critical.
Yeah, so context is critical, but let's picture a really large organization. Each individual there, each stakeholder has a different context in their mind. So how do we actually scale this approach?
So for me, there's so many different architectures that come into mind that people discuss today. I really believe that let me step back. There's so many technologies and different skill sets and different items that I need to work on to make possible what you just talked about, right? Share the data, make it contextually across a large organization. There's analytics, there's machine learning, there's AI, there's data integration, there's data orchestration. But I think with a lot of tools where we've gotten to technology is the return of marginal utility. On a lot of these technologies, you get to a point where good enough is good enough.
Yeah.
And the next step, the next frontier in data is bringing these things together to do what you just said.
Right.
Not, hey, we are the fastest one that can query this complex join across this much data. Watch us. We can beat these other people by a whole 3 seconds. Right? And some folks, that's going to matter if you're a really large organization with specific SLAs. I get that. But for the large majority of people, it's about how do I deliver this in a simple way across a multifaceted organization. And I think a data fabric is a way that you can really deliver that's contextually rich, keeps the semantics of what a business user would care about, and also allows you to scale across multiple different technologies that you have.
Right. Let's talk about the data fabric for a minute. How would you put that in your own words? How would you define data fabric?
in the most simplest terms, I like to say that a data fabric, in SAP, we talk a lot about a business data fabric. And that comes back to what I was talking about on context.
Right.
Context for the business is what's really, really critical. So we talk about a business data fabric. If I really need to simplify it, it's about delivering meaningful data to every data consumer with business context intact.
Well, isn't everybody else trying to do that? Like, how does data fabric differ from other data integration approaches?
I think with a data fabric, really, it allows me to have a abstracted harmonization layer that sits on top of multiple different clouds, on-premises systems, hybrid systems, whatever it may be, and also multiple different technologies, and then have that layer that really can speak with all of my diverse landscape across my data and have a beautiful place where I can bring it all together, harmonize it. And what's really special with SAP, with our new product, SAP DataSphere, it's got direct connection to your SAP data and metadata. So think about that really important business application and metadata that's coming from maybe your supply chain, your ERP. That's where you want your insights. That's where you want to understand your context. And a lot of folks don't keep that intact. They just extract that, they lose it. And so with the data fabric, I can keep that context intact, but also I can work across multiple other different technologies.
Right. And then going back to the data-driven culture point, so you mentioned 31% of the CEOs said we sort of have a data-driven culture, and I'm sure some of them were like, yeah, of course, I'll check that box.
Marcus down for yes, yeah.
That sounds like what we have or what we need to have, right? I don't want to be in trouble. So how come there is a large percentage that are not there yet? What are some of those challenges?
Oh, man, I think one major challenge is the discrepancy between the interlock between business and IT. We all have different goals, and sometimes we have goals that are pulling us in different directions. Your business might be focusing more on, hey, we need self-service data access, and we need the data to be delivered in business terms that everyone can understand. While IT might be focused on, we need to improve our governance, our data ops, FinOps, ML ops, whatever it may be.
Compliance, regulatory compliance, all that,
those,
right?
And that might be, hey, that's what's top of mind for us, and we're going to centralize things even more so that we can do so. If I were to talk about self-service data access, what the business wants, that's in direct opposing direction of, hey, we're going to centralize things more so we can govern more. And so I think there's a lot of conversations that have to be had between IT and business to get on the same page of, in the end, what are we trying to deliver? What do we want to do? And let's work together here. Let's work together on what new technology we're acquiring, how are we integrating that technology across our systems, rather than we're going to buy this technology on the business side because that's what we want. Thank you.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Or IT doing the same, right? So I think that's a big uber overarching issue that a lot of companies have.
Yeah, I want to drill down on the self-service piece for a minute. So we say that the business wants self-service. Wouldn't IT also want the business to be able to get the stuff themselves so we don't have to keep tapping them on the shoulder like, hey, I need this data pulled again, but differently?
Totally.
It's in their favor, right?
Totally. And that's where, again, context comes in. Yeah. Because IT, I think you definitely want to be able to say, hey, self-service, it's published, you can go for it. Have fun. But what inevitably happens when there's no context is, I'm a business user. Yeah, it's self-service. Here you go, Kaiser. You can take it, my IT person. Yeah. I jump into it and I go, oh, I can manage my way around it, but what does this mean? Which leads to emails about what does this mean, which leads to more meetings about what does this mean, which could have been solved with, hey, on the IT side, we heard you, business folks. We're going to improve our semantic layer. We're going to improve that when we deliver business data, there's glossaries, there's hierarchies that you understand, that it's not __ product ID 234, but it's making clear to you what product it's talking about, what the transaction's coming from, so that these business users get, oh, this is what this data is for, that's what this data is for, let me bring it together. So I think context, because you're 100% right, IT, that would favor them, totally.
Yeah, do it yourself, right?
Yes, it gives them back so much more time to not do mundane tasks.
Yes.
But if there's no context, then it still leads to ongoing conversations and a lot of wasted time.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what would you say are the benefits of adding an analytics tool along with Data Fabric?
I'd say it's 100% needed, of course. And when I think about things that extend off of a data fabric, one of them, of course, is going to be analytics.
Yeah.
For planning, for visualization. Another one, in my opinion, is applications that you need to create that you want to be intelligent. I think for analytics folks to be able to dive into let's say a data product that's around customer sentiment data, but it's also modeled with some Adobe and Salesforce data or whatever systems that you have, being able to be in an analytics tool and quickly get that with a click of a button, and then to be able to model it, change it a little bit, harmonize it with some other data, and then visualize it so quickly. That's got to be something that's always there, because that's what drives quick wins, in my opinion, for whether you're a data analyst or a data engineer, a BI engineer, whatever it may be, rather than, hey, made the data product, and then the data analysts on the other side figure out how to get in here. Maybe it's a JDBC query, maybe you have to use SQL, rather than, hey, we're already integrated from the data fabric end to the end result of analytics.
So I'm wondering, how do you sell something like this to, like, say, the executives of an organization? How do you show that value?
For me, I think it really depends on first stepping back and talking with executives of, if they were to sit down and write down their an acronym I like that's actually used a lot across enterprises is OKRs, objectives and key results. What's your objective? And when you accomplish that objective, what's the key result you're hoping to get down there? If I were to sit down with a CIO, a CDO, whatever it may be, and say, what are those?
Right.
When you think about data, you think about analytics, rather than jumping in immediately and going, you need to stitch everything together.
You need that fabric.
You need a data fabric. We're the quickest that can do it.
Yeah.
It's more on, what are things looking like across your organization, whether it's on the business side, on the IT side. What's your OKRs for this year? And then what I like to talk about is, here's some OKRs that we're seeing that would really benefit you if you were to say at the end of the year you accomplish these things would benefit your entire company. Like, number one, being able to deliver business data in business terms.
Right.
If a CDO could say, yep, at the end of 12 months we did that, that is a huge win. Huge, that so many people aren't. Number two, being able to say, we hyper-optimized our business logistics with new applications and hyper-personalized our customer experiences by using Gen AI.
Right.
Those are actual, and that takes a lot of work to get there, right? But rather than going down and saying, hey, let's talk about the specific items of this product and this feature, et cetera, it's really talking about those OKRs and then showing them at SAP, that's what we're here to do as well, is to help data and analytics leaders be business leaders.
Right. So would you say that starting small and showing some quick wins is a good way to get in there?
100%. And just let's say back to that first one I just said, delivering business data in business terms.
Right.
Okay, how could we make that happen? Well, when we're sharing data products on, let's say, the supply chain disruption predictions that we're doing, how can we make sure that we deliver that, of course, to our business and to IT that has business data in business terms? All right, we need to have a semantic layer to make that happen. We need to get clear on our definitions across our glossary and where we govern our data on what each table and which column means and who's owning that table and how they're distributing it across the business, to be able to then say, yes, we've done that for this one small little project.
Yeah.
That will pay you dividends as you try to transform into a data culture.
Right. And I guess as a final question for you here, does every organization need a data fabric?
I would say I would say, you can tell I'm very hyperbolic sometimes, but I'd say 100%. Like, it goes back to what I was talking about with marginal utility. Instead of looking at all the different puzzle pieces of what I need when it comes to data and analytics tools and technologies of machine learning. Now I want generative AI. Now I want data pipelines. Now I want large language models. Really, at the end of the day, you're going to be able to get good enough utility out of all these tools that you have. They're going to serve your needs. But the next frontier is going to be, how do these interface so simply that I could interact with them just in natural language. Do XYZ across my data fabric. Bring data from this hyperscaler,
Oh, man.
my on-premises system. I want you to orchestrate it into a data product that's deliverable to my business users, package it up like this, write a description of what it's used for and how we're using it across the company.
That sounds like a dream come true, along with the documentation to go along with it. This is awesome.
Right, and I really think that's what we're getting there more and more with the data fabric.
Yeah.
We're making strides. I think that's the next frontier of a data fabric. Is it really provides the ML ops, the data ops, the FinOps, and then all those puzzle pieces always come together, and I just interact with them through a business data fabric.
Right, making it easy.
Yes. So it's instead of, hey, can we write some code to interact with this large language model, and then how can we put that into our applications? Or, all right, how do we visualize that now into our analytics tool? The data fabric is ensuring that all of these diverse pieces are simplified, and you just have a data landscape that's accessed through your business data fabric.
Perfect. Well, Kaiser, thank you so much.
Thank you. Great chatting with you.
Yes, you too.